everyone. This is Financial Literacy 101. I'm your host, Ross World. And today we're just going to go over how to build an emergency fund. I mean, this is a great time, in my opinion, to learn how to build an emergency fund because a lot of us really don't know how to build an emergency fund. Some of us don't look at it as a budget, and essentially you have to actually budget to build your emergency fund. You have to, because it's going to take not extra funds, but funds set aside, allocated funds set aside in order for you to actually create an emergency fund. Okay, so what is an emergency fund? Emergency fund is a bank account that is separate from all your other bank accounts, and this is mainly for emergencies, unforeseen medical expenses, home appliances, car fixes, you lose your job, you have a sick family member that you need to take care of, and you can't go to work. You take a leave of absence, however. So this is in case of a pandemic, right? And the numbers you'll hear be thrown around mostly when you're talking about emergency fund are 3 to 6 months. But you have to take these things in strides. You have to go 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, so on and so forth. Now for me, I did mine earlier, $31,000 for 6 months of an emergency fund. $31,000, because I think that we all don't think about how much money we need to sustain our life, to maintain our standard of living for 6 months. Okay, we're going to focus on 6 months, but we understand there's steps to get there. Okay, 1 month, 2 months, so on and so forth. So we have to understand that. All right, good evening, Clan Killer. Good evening, Miss Curly Girl. Good evening, Nolan. And good evening, Jermaine. Thank you for joining this live session today. If you notice, I've been doing a lot of pre-recorded stuff. So hopefully that information, because I'm a lot quicker when I'm recording, but live I get, you know how I get. I just start rambling and I'm going to move on. But anyway, you might ask yourself, why do I need an emergency fund? Please don't ask me why you need an emergency fund. In case of an emergency. Pandemic, COVID-19, an emergency. Now, the question I propose to you guys, if you had 6 months of all your bills saved up, would you depend on the government to support you? Now, granted, any extra help is always good, but would you be just waiting idly by or, nervous with anxiety waiting for your stimulus check? Like, say, if you got laid off from your job or you got furloughed, right, or your hours got reduced, now you are sitting idly by waiting for the government to bail you out, essentially, even though they should. Don't get me wrong. But if you had emergency fund, I think you'll be not as worried. You won't have built up anxiety. You won't be depressed. Like, okay, I got a nest egg. Okay, I got a safety net. Okay, I got a hedge of protection. My emergency fund. So these are things that you actually need to be asking yourself, because quite frankly, if you ball into your fall, if you're spending all your money, if you're not budgeting for your emergency fund, then you are doing you and your family a great injustice. And I will want you to do the opposite. Okay, I will want you to do the opposite. So what's a good number to start off with your emergency fund? Anything extra. Okay, there's many methods of you trying to save for your emergency fund. First and foremost, you need a high yield, easy access bank account. I used to come out with high yield savings all along, but right now, all of the high yield savings bank accounts that I was looking at, they're under 2%. And if anybody knows, we're kind of like teetering with inflation. From 2.8 to 3.1% is risen almost a point. And you always want to get a high yield savings account that is the highest. Okay, Goldman and Sachs, that's one. I looked at it. There's a couple out there. You need a certain amount of money to reach some of those 2%, like $10,000. Now, let's say, for instance, we don't have $10,000. What do you start your emergency fund with? Any money after your bills, right? Because you like, oh, well, I got to pay for this, I got to pay for that, got to pay for this, got to pay for that. But here's the thing. When an emergency occurs, and you never know when an emergency occurs, it's like an accident. You don't know when it's going to happen. That extra money or that leftover money should go to your emergency fund, because when things like this happen, you're looking to the government, you're looking to everybody else for support. But if you start your emergency fund, then you wouldn't have these issues. So let's work on building our emergency fund. So $1, $5, $10, $100. Believe it or not, a lot of emergencies, other than losing your job, $500 can actually take care of a lot of emergencies. Believe it or not, what if you have to catch a plane ticket or go visit a sick loved one, a sick family member or friend? Most likely a $500 plane ticket will get you there, in my opinion. Okay, I've flown cross country for under $500 plenty of times, from Washington to Washington D.C., around $430, $450. So I would say, if you can, create milestones for yourself, checkpoints, where you're like, okay, I got 500. My next milestone is 1,000. My next milestone, 1,500. So on and so forth. Give yourself goals. Give yourself steps. That way you can lead up and get to that point. All right. So I'm going to show you a great site that I believe that will help you guys build your emergency fund and give you a good idea of what actually the amount that you need in order to sustain your way of living for 6 months. Okay. Good evening, Stephen. Ms. Curly Girl says, I'm so glad I'm not depending on the stimulus check because I haven't received mine yet. Okay. Stephen says, not sure how long I can stay on. You're brilliant. Thanks for sharing this important information. Thank you, Stephen. What else do we have? Jermaine says, yes, this had a lot of people off guard. Indeed. And Clankula says, can you make a stock as long as your long-term investment without option trading or day trade? Can you make a stock as long? I'm going to get to that probably in another video. Or, hey, just email me. My email is in the description of the video, and I'll answer your question, Clankula. I don't want to get off topic here because I do that a lot. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to walk through this, right? One of my favorite websites, this is Nerve Wallet. And what I love about Nerve Wallet, they have a lot of money tips, saving tips, and emergency fund calculator. One of the greatest tools I've seen. All right, you come down here, say emergency fund calculator, okay? Monthly rent or mortgage. I'm just doing a guesstimate, okay? So $1,800 for mortgage. Next. Then it says monthly utility pass, let's see, gas, electric, water, and garbage. Some of you may think that $610 is a lot of money for utilities, but we're talking about a home. And then depending on where you live, like hotter states like Arizona, New Mexico, Nevada, Texas, etc., they may pay upwards anywhere from $200 to $400 for electricity because their AC units are always on to keep their house cool. Because these places actually get up to triple digits when it comes to Fahrenheit and degrees, being hot. Okay, so that's just an estimate. Okay, all right. Monthly telecom payment. That's your phone, cable, and internet. I don't really have cable, but I have internet and a cell phone. $217. Okay, $217 because I try to get the fastest internet. This is probably lower for most people. Okay. Next, monthly insurance payment. That's your car, health, and home. Okay, your home insurance, your health insurance, and your car insurance. That's that amount. Okay. Monthly transportation costs, car payment. That's your car note. How much you paying gas, and if you take public transportation. Okay. Public transportation. Now, a lot of these numbers you see when it comes to individual items, this is for two people, not just one. I'm doing it for two because most of you have a significant other or you have a family member that you may be paying bills for or that you guys combine your bills for. All right, next. Monthly debt payments, credit cards, and other loans and mortgage. So this is me. I pay $350 because I'll pay off my credit cards at the end of the month. So I try not to go over 30% utilization because we understand if you go over 30% of utilization at the end of your billing cycle for your credit card, your credit score will decrease in points. Okay, it will decrease. But if you go up 30%, you pay it all before your billing cycle, then you're absolutely fine. If anything, it may go up. So $350 for that. Monthly grocery expenses, $300. Most people are going to put anywhere from $175 to $500, depending on the size of your family and your household. Next. Other expenses, miscellaneous items, $300. Why is it saying, okay, early amounts was 31,000. I don't know why it did this. But anyway, they will give you amount. There's no way I'm going to remember all these numbers, guys, but I'm going to type it in here really quickly. If you just bear with me, so you can see that they add all this stuff up. So I told you earlier, this was 31,000 for me. So I'm gonna see if I can get close back to the amount that I have. See, car payment and gas. Let's just go with that right there. Monthly debt payments, credit cards. I remember, I think that was $350. Monthly grocery bill, that was $300. Boom. So yeah, 31,000. So that is 6 months. Okay. It says right here, here's how much you should try to save up for emergency. This represents 6 months of basic living expenses. Then it asks you, are you able to save this amount? No, I can't save anything, let alone this amount. Not sure. I need to cut some corners elsewhere. Yes, there's a reason I don't know. So I'm just going to click the middle. It's great that you have some room in your budget to make cuts. We've picked out a few stories for you. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. And then it gives you more information. Emergency fund, building a safety net. And then it goes to graded details. Give you some trick yourself into saving. Saving money is easier. Here are some ways to trick yourself into saving. Automate it, hide it, name it. Okay. Those are different ways. They have saving apps like Why You Need a Budget, or an Excel spreadsheet that has formulas already embedded inside of it. Pay off debt. That's another way. Then they have ways to save. So if you go on Nerve Wallet and you go to the emergency calculator, so here's the website at the top. I will have this website in the description of this video so you guys can actually do it for yourself. So hopefully this has been beneficial, because everyone is panicking about COVID-19. And a lot are going to survive COVID-19, but we're not going to do the right things by our finances and have an emergency fund. Because I know some of you, if you don't have an emergency fund, wish you did. And those who have an emergency fund, you're glad that you do have one. All right, I'm going to read some of your notes and I'm going to get out of here. See, Clanker says, okay, be sure to hear. Thank you. Ross says is good. Well, thank you, Clan Killer. I appreciate that. So anyway, that's my time for today, guys. I just want to do a quick video so you guys get the information. And I just released a video for update for the stimulus update. So check out that video as well. These are simultaneously being released. This one is live. That one was pre-recorded, but they're out roughly at the same time. So thank you for attending this live session. Learn money and be inspired. You guys take care of yourself and have a great night. I'm out.